Well, hello everybody. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been a
Been a minute,
6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, maybe longer.
maybe longer. Yeah.
Could have been longer.
Yeah.
And anyway, so welcome to the show. If you haven't been here, you really showed up at the wrong time because this is the very last episode of the It's All Fine and Danjee podcast. Wow, what a ride. I feel like Paul Rudd. Look at us.
Look at us. No, look at us.
We so much has happened, and if you watch the last episode or listen to it, at the end of it, it's funny because we said, all right, well, you know what? We're leaving our friends Craig and Daisy's in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're going to go home. We're going to go back to North Carolina. We're going to pack it up, find somewhere to rent as soon as we can in Tennessee. And then within the next 2 years, get a house. It's going to be our forever retirement home somewhere out there with some property. And I said, I'm putting it out there, which I hardly ever say. I love when people do that. I have struggled with that sort of manifestation. But long story short, we're sitting at our forever house in Tennessee right now and with property up here in the foothills. So
Yes. So, yeah, over 200 episodes with It's All Fine and Danjee, though. And just over 6 years. I think it was like April 11th was our very first episode in 2019.
So we are literally almost to the day on 6 years. And wow, it's we started this thing not knowing exactly where we're going to go with it. We have met so many amazing people, made real true friends from, the guests that have been on the show. It's just been an amazing and fun project. For me, it was also kind of the techie stuff I want to get into, but we've gotten so involved with our communities over the years, and it's been an awesome husband and wife or spouse project. Finding things to do together like that. Now that we're up here, we have so many projects to do together.
Yes.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about why we're kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah, so I think just moving on to new projects, like you said. And then actually, I think it was kind of my idea more than it was your idea.
Definitely. I would have done this forever.
Because Dan has been talking so many years about doing like a little tech review type channel, and he thinks he can do it all. But, you only have so many hours in a day.
Well, let's see if I actually do that tech YouTube thing now for sure. But I intend to.
I really think you will, but I also think you'll have more time to do it without editing the podcast and all. There's such a lot of work that goes into it. If anybody that's a podcaster out there knows, I mean, even if you do like an Instagram channel or something like that, there's so much that goes into it. It's, planning the content and on your end, editing and, creating images for social media. And just there's so much behind the scenes that goes into it and let's face it, you really did most all of that work.
Yeah. I like doing that stuff.
It's because you like doing it. You're very particular.
True.
I'm not going to be as particular as you are if it came to editing and stuff like that is just the facts. I'd be like, that's good enough. That's great.
And I'll be like, I got to fix that tiny little pixel that you can see. But
Exactly.
I totally get what you're saying, Angie, and I know it's true. We've talked about it. So I do intend to do the tech review channel. If you're into that kind of thing, I'll post on my social medias. I may even post on the Fine and Danjee socials when it's time to migrate over to that. But it's just me, with tech from all different kinds of technology, and it will be not super deep and techy, but more a tech recommendation than a tech review. I've had so many friends, family, and just colleagues over the years tell me, you should really do something, because they'll ask me, what drone do I buy? What camera do I buy? What phone should I buy? And I have at least some sort of consumer expertise with most of that stuff, and I feel like I can give a reasonable reason why maybe you don't want the most expensive one, or maybe you do. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun to go through that.
And the other thing is, we bought 5 acres. We bought 5 acres out here in Tennessee.
We're out of practice.
We're in a little tiny town called Decatur,
Yes.
Tennessee, which is like a metropolis population 1,500.
1,500. When I first told someone that, they said, "You mean 15,000?" No,
No,
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah.
We're like right smack in the dab in the middle of Knoxville and Chattanooga, kind of right where we wanted to be. Like Dan said, manifesting it because literally we said we want to be almost directly in between those two places, and that's where we found this, and it just kind of fell into
Yeah.
our lap,
Yeah.
and we weren't even looking.
Not really. No, we were just messing around and
So it
found it.
definitely, yeah. But our intent with having property like this and like Dan said, making this our forever space is to also create a space that kind of earns some income.
Yeah.
So we, have already been mapping out the property as far as, I love having the Airbnb in Florida, but I'm not as involved with it because I'm not right there.
Yep.
So we're going to do something like that with the property. So, my vision is first start with like a glamping site on the property. Then we're going to, we have plans to put a little tree house on the property and eventually move into a tiny home on the property as well.
Yeah.
So possibly 3 rental type things on the property, and I can be more involved with that hospitality aspect of having those, which I really love. So
Yeah.
the planning phase is there, but we're just having a lot of fun kind of envisioning what the property is going to be. And then also we've been working on it.
Yeah, and let's be honest, there's been some stress associated. So we love the house, we love the property for sure, but we knew coming in that there was some work that needed to be done on the house. It's all stuff you could not see. Like if you came and saw the house, you'd be like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is awesome." It's like crawl space, foundation issues, and humidity issues and things that they're going to cost us some money and some time. But I mean, above and beyond all of it, I guess I should say, at the end of the day.
Da-da, ba-bum-bum.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were looking for, and having all those boxes checked is so weird to find a place down at the end of the property for a tiny house, and place for maybe a second Airbnb also, and like the woods behind us right here. It's probably 2.5 acres of just woods, maybe 2 acres of just
Yeah.
woods, and little trails that we're making for
Yep, you
ourselves,
can
and
see it right there
yeah,
behind us. We've started clearing little paths
yeah,
and using tree limbs to kind of line the paths and just really kind of scoping out. We walk the property every day. We get
yeah.
up every morning and
With
take
the
the
dogs,
dogs
yeah.
for a little walk. And previous owners had some kind of trails that I think their grandkids rode 4-wheelers around
Long
on.
since abandoned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think the funniest part about like us moving here is it happened so freaking fast.
yeah.
Like
It was like 30 days. I
it
think within 30
was,
days of the last podcast we did.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, I think, well, after we stayed in Knoxville, we stayed with some friends in Wallen, Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
And then from there, we went to our Florida house for like 3 weeks. We
Yep.
did some, kind of renovation-y stuff and just annual
Oh
cleanup.
yeah, we were gone for a total of like 9 or 10 weeks.
No,
from
11.
11
It
weeks
was
from
11 weeks.
from
Yeah.
the North Carolina rental we were in. I mean, we were gone for over a quarter of a year. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
But then what happened is when we got back, or in Florida, I think we were stressed about trying to find a rental. We couldn't find a rental.
Wait, hold on. My math's bothering me here. It
Okay.
wasn't quite a quarter of a year. It was it was just short of a quarter of a year. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But when we were in Florida, I think we had decided it was just going to be very stressful trying to get moved out before our lease was up and trying to find the correct place to live in Tennessee. And
Did not want to move again
no,
already
didn't want
after.
to move again. And so we had said, okay, well, I guess we'll just sign another lease.
Yeah.
And
I
that's where
did.
we were.
I signed another year lease. Everything just really lined
Yep.
up. This is one of those examples of how if you just put it out there, it really does work. I
Mm-hmm.
have trouble relying on that sometimes, but I don't want to forget to give a shout out to your family, to Angie's mom, sister, and nephew.
Yep.
They came up to our place in North
Powerhouses,
Carolina.
baby.
Helped pack. I say helped pack everything. All of them pretty much did all the moving because I have a bad back, so I
That
did
was the
some
plan.
of it. But these ladies and the nephew did so much work, and loading, all this stuff. Two big, huge U-Hauls. Angie and I drove up here. They followed in our cars. It was
Hmm.
a marathon few days for them, and we
Loaded
could not.
within 24
Yeah,
hours.
we could not have done it without them. And then the people that we were breaking the lease with, we were going to have to pay for that lease until
Yeah.
it either got leased by someone else. And they ended up contacting us and saying, you know what, I think we're just going to sell the place. So forget the lease. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
a
just,
week later after we were moved
yeah,
in. So that was the plan.
yeah,
We were going to have to pay the rent there, pay
figure
the
it out.
mortgage here.
Two times,
Yeah.
yeah, basically two mortgages or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, this
It
place
worked
is,
out.
we will show some clips here during this episode of the property. It is so beautiful.
Hmm.
There are fruit trees out here of so many
Oh,
different
my goodness. We have
variations.
hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds,
Uh,
blooming flowers everywhere. We got here in winter now. We're going through spring and it's starting to really
yes.
fill in. And it's just, it's just the neatest property. It's 5 acres, but it's kind of squished and long. So it's got a
Yeah.
really long driveway. We can't even see the road from our house.
Which I love. It makes it very private. It's
Yes.
so quiet outside. There's not really noise pollution, even though I hear an airplane right now.
It's
That's
like a
not
little puddle jumper
normal.
too. It's like you can hear like it's a
Yeah.
prop plane, but you might
Ye-
hear a dog once in a while. You can
Yeah.
sit out here at night and look up at the stars and see thousands of stars. I mean, it's just everything we
Yep.
wanted, and we're so
Yep.
thankful. And
It's
I
checking all the it checked all the boxes, that's for
really
sure.
did, yeah,
Yep. And the other thing is, I just 6 years is a long time to do a
yeah,
podcast.
it is.
Most, I think we've talked about that before. Most podcasts don't even barely launch their first one and they don't move on to the second one.
Yeah,
And
those statistics we looked up a while back, but you're right.
yeah,
Yeah,
but we have had such a great audience. Everybody that just tunes in and supports us and listens every week, just sometimes just to see what we're up to, but also to check and see what small businesses we've been,
yeah,
chatting with. And it's been a really fun experience with you. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. I agree. It's been a fun
It has
experience with
been a
you.
fun, and I feel like it was more of a passion project, definitely. I mean, I think we were like, oh, we could, probably make a living off this or whatever. But it was really a passion project, just for a way for us to get involved in the community, and we
Yeah,
did that.
we did. Yeah, it was also a nice. It's weird. To me, making friends as an adult, the concept of it seems weird, though it seems to be getting easier as I get older. But being able to say, "Hey, we're going to come interview you about your business," the intention was never to make friends, but we learned
Yeah.
if you're genuinely interested in the business, there's like a common discussion and then you have some chemistry with each other and then it ends up being, hey, why don't you guys come back out and then why don't we go maybe to dinner or whatever it is, or and so it was so that part of it has been really cool to me, is just making friends. That was sort of the collateral. I didn't expect
Yeah.
the sort of let's call it a group project, but just me and to go
Yeah.
through and write it every week and figure out where we're going to do it. And I feel like you have such a knack for this
Yeah.
that
Thank you.
we discovered, when we were we went on the radio station to interview for my books that I write, which I'm still working on some books if I ever get those done. Again, trying to do too much stuff. But,
Exactly.
but
And all the projects I already got him
yeah,
doing around here.
on the other side of the camera here is a gazebo half built. There's there's stuff everywhere. But
Or fun jokes about, why we don't just hire people to do things.
oh
We think we're
gosh,
such handymen.
I know. Some of it's fun, some of it's not so fun. But anyways, just noticing that you were good at it, and then just really wanting to sort of make something.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me, and it's been a really fun ride.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, I'm glad we're wrapping it up. I think if you try to keep doing something after the passion is starting to fizzle, it's not as good.
Yeah.
And as much as we really love to support small business and still will support small
Of
business,
course.
we could feel it even in North Carolina where we're meeting with businesses and it was great. And I'd start to feel like excited again, but it would really start fizzling in between guests. And that wasn't happening to me before.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, things run their course.
Of course.
And I think,
Yeah.
it's like, man, though, we have like a nice little resume for ourselves. Like if I ever, wanted to go and get into some kind of like radio or something, I can be like, look at this accomplishment. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
This is
6
how I
years,
sound.
over 200,
This is the dynamic. And
yeah, look at our reviews,
yes. And I think
so
I want to just stop for a minute and talk about that too, because I kept noticing, I don't go look at that very often, but we kept
mhm.
getting reviews, and different platforms have different reviews. But just one more shout out to all of you that have been watching or listening. Really, most of our audience is listening. I do the YouTube channel is even more of a passion project because we didn't get that many views on the YouTube videos, but some of them would be like a couple hundred, and then some would be like 10. But
Yeah.
it was just, it was a passion project for me, and learning how to do all that, and
And you love doing that,
all the
editing and
editing,
stuff
and
like that.
yeah,
But once again, very time
very
consuming,
time consuming.
especially for somebody that's a perfectionist.
Yeah, true.
Like I
But
said, me, stamp,
done.
good, done.
But a little bit of house cleaning around all that. So within the next few weeks, the podcast itself will stop, so that if you're listening on any of your podcast platforms, say like Apple Podcasts, I think they will disappear. I know they'll stop appearing, but I think they'll eventually disappear completely because there's space that we're paying for that. Um, all of the YouTube videos, whether it be just an audio video, which I did for some of them, or the video stuff, those will stay up. So if you ever want to be nostalgic, which I know we probably will once in a
Yeah.
while, go back and check on one. Or if you were a guest on the show and you want to go see your old interview, I will leave those up there forever, just for fun. But within the next few weeks, you're going to see things kind of go away. The
Mm.
website will probably stay up for quite a while because it's a package deal I have with some other websites that we do. But
So if you were on the show
yeah,
and you want to kind of record your episode,
yeah,
go ahead and do that just to have for your own
yeah,
memory,
go grab it.
so
Yeah,
you can, say, look at this podcast I was on back in the day.
yeah,
I mean, it's a kind of cool thing to say, like even when we've been on other people's podcasts, it's a
oh, for
cool
sure.
experience.
I would like to go back and listen to some of those we were on, but like you say, I'd never be able to find them now.
Yep.
So it'd be nice to have them. But as far as what we're going to be up to, many of you are following us on our own personal social medias now.
Mhm.
If you don't, feel free to reach out. But we are going to be just living our lives up here and working on all of our stuff and doing some other side projects. But
Yep. And
you
some
know,
of those side project. Now, one of the things I do on the property as well is, I mean, look, I'm not a homesteader. You know what I mean?
yet,
But yet, right? But I definitely want like chickens, some things that we can kind of provide for ourselves. I've got big dreams, of course. I
yeah,
want like, a U-pick flower field
we have room.
and look, shout out to Mike and Jen Fox because I think
Oh my gosh, yeah,
they're very inspirational in
yeah.
this. You know what I mean?
Indeed,
Just
they are.
living on the property and kind of cultivating it into what it became and what it is. And they just seem very content
And
with
that's
it and
that's
happy. And
Fox Valley Farm and Hop Yard in Apopka. If you're
yes,
not familiar, yeah, they bought
Dan's,
my childhood home and made it into an amazing
yeah.
hop yard and farm and orchard, and it's just beautiful.
And
Yeah,
that was definitely one of the draws to this property is that it already has like established fruit trees. I mean, we
yeah.
got blueberry, kiwi, plum,
2 apples.
apples,
Yeah,
peach. I think
pears,
a
not peach. Yeah,
pears, not peach. I said blueberries
yeah,
already, I think. And a mulberry tree.
yeah.
I haven't
Whatever.
found that one yet. I
Yeah,
need to look at. The lady left a map for us where all the trees are, but we have,
like a treasure hunt.
yeah, we have tons of birds. Like they said, the hummingbirds come out in droves. We haven't seen droves of them yet, but we've seen
The season
some.
just started, but
Yep.
we've seen them sitting together, which I've never seen hummingbirds do on like a bird feeder, normally. But they said
Yeah.
they get 40 to 50 at a time
Oh,
every year, and it's like a swarm out
so
here. So that'll be
exciting.
neat.
Anyway, pups are loving the property. Like
So
they
much
just get to
property.
even when they're just out in the backyard, they're not roaming away. They just sit in the sun and just look around and
They don't know what it's like to be on a leash anymore, hardly at all. So
no,
we
they,
just walk around
yeah,
with
we're
them.
far enough away from the main, there's not even a main road. We're far enough away from the road that our driveway sits off
Yeah,
of that we're not worried about them.
right.
Yeah, just like beautiful foliage. Am I saying it right? Foliage?
I don't know.
Foliage. I always
Foliage
say foliage. Established trees, huge trees. A lot of property cleanup just to kind of get
to manicure it a
to
little.
manicure it
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit, but that's making our trails and stuff. So just super excited on what the future holds with the property out here, and we named our property already. Your property has to have a name.
The I know we named the house, right?
Well, Joe Brown named
Yes.
the house.
Props to Joe Brown. And Joe sent us a housewarming gift. It's like a
Uh-huh.
cutting board I would never use because it's
No, it's too
beautiful.
pretty.
So we got it
It's
mounted
all
up in the kitchen,
etched.
but it says the Foxhole
That's it.
established, 2025. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
very
So
cool.
that's the name of the house, but Foxwood, I think.
Foxwood. I like it.
Foxwood
Yeah.
is
Very
the name of
nice.
the property.
Yeah.
So like when we start putting rentals on the property, they'll all be,
Themed
I'm
around
very
it.
themed. Like
But
everything has to be themed.
the previous owner said they never saw bears, but they did see foxes a lot. And
Yeah.
we found the sort of, what do you call them? They're little hollows or whatever.
Yep. Yeah,
So
you can. Yeah, there's definitely fox on the property. We are going to set up like wildlife cameras as
yes, got to
well.
get with Donnie for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned because we are going to have like a chicken
Chicken.
cam and
Angie wants to do get 4 chickens and name them Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, and Janice. And
yes.
she wants to paint up the hen house to look kind of like the coffee shop and call it the Central Perch.
That's right.
So
I really do.
I
I'm
love it.
going to do it. It's going to be the cutest thing.
Yeah.
And then I want goats, and I want 2 goats.
Yep.
The little miniature goats, and
Did
then
we say we're still going to do those or sheep, or we're still thinking?
I don't know yet, but I think
The goats are
miniature
cute, but they're
dang-
so destructive.
Yeah, they're just so cute. But they keep your yard mowed for you.
True.
You basically
Well,
move them around one section and the next, and it keeps it all mowed up for you.
we might still do it, but
Yeah.
if we do, I wanted to name them Walt and Jesse. So that would be my little thing
And
there.
I want bunny rabbits too
Yeah.
for fertilizer.
We
Chicken
definitely
poop
have
and
some.
rabbit poop. That's good fertilizer
Yeah.
right there.
We have some wild ones for
We
sure,
do.
but
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So we, that's what we're going to be doing, just living out here on the farm, as Angie calls it. It's not really a farm yet, but I
call
think
it the
we're going
farm.
to make it into one. But every day, just about every day after work, it's some kind of project.
Yep.
Yesterday after work, we built like a firewood holder.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ready to get a log splitter and a chipper and all these things that.
All those fun, cool pieces of equipment
And
that
it's-
I
oh.
always want to use.
I should also say, if I could toot our own horn for a minute, we're collectively 35 to 40 pounds less of us on screen right now since you
Yes.
saw us last time. That traveling around, as Craig would say, foodies and fitness, traveling around eating for 11 weeks will do it to you. But we
Well,
did.
I'm sure a little bit before that. Like,
Yeah.
we're, putting in a little bit of wine.
Sure. Yeah. Quitting the wine. And again, no disrespect to anyone, but we did it all naturally with working out and eating right. And we're staying more on track
Really,
with
with
all that.
calorie counting was the
Yep.
big thing.
Yeah, I still do it. Yep.
Being aware of, how much we were eating. You still do it. I don't
Yeah.
so much anymore.
But I think you're good about staying on track. I crave all the stuff that you're not supposed to
Yeah.
eat. But once I get in a rhythm, I'm okay with,
Yeah.
But that was another big thing we were focused heavily on.
we have not gone back to wine.
No,
Which
wine
I'm
is a
happy
killer.
about because it gives me the worst migraines ever.
Wine
so
is my
I
favorite.
love it, but
It's my favorite, but it's just too many calories. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we're drinking light beer when we do drink beer and,
Yep.
living that older person life.
So we're very excited because we have family and friends that want to come and visit. My
And
mom,
have, yeah.
Well, my mom, my sister, and Lucas came up, but I mean, they got to see the house
didn't get to
first.
visit.
But
Rodney
they
and
were-
Jody
They're
stayed.
working their ass off the whole time.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
did, yeah.
Yeah. So Rodney and Jody, my
Her
cousin,
cousin,
Rodney and Jody.
From the last episode, I think, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Or two episodes
maybe
ago.
a couple episodes ago. They are in Dalton, Georgia, and they came up and stayed a couple nights with us.
Yep.
And shout out to Rodney and Jody for bringing me all these wonderful tiles that Rodney's company sells, and we're gonna line the whole garage with it, and some for our desks for the
Really
bottom of our
nice
desks.
stuff. The
Yeah.
stuff that we did the tour of that he does, they do it like
Yeah.
in professional gym floors and
Got
arenas
a
and
nice
stuff.
garage
Yeah.
floor instead of just cement.
Oh, really nice. Yeah, and we've got like a workout room set up in there.
Mm-hmm.
I've already smart homed out the whole house except for the garage door. It's very exciting and still a little surreal that we have our own place. So
I know. And I mean, we've only been in a month and a half.
Yeah.
So it just happened all so fast.
Very
I mean,
quickly.
Everything happened so fast. It was just like, take a breath. I think after the first week after my mom and everybody went back home, we were still like just balls to the wall for
Yeah.
a week, and then finally we were just like, let's just, oh my gosh, let's go actually sit in the yard and enjoy it or something. It was like
Yeah, and I still
go
had to
go go go
force
go.
myself to do that because I think what happens is, as I said this morning on our walk,
Hmm.
I'm just kind of wired to see all this stuff almost in an exciting way. Like, oh, we could go do that. Oh, I kind of want to go get
Yeah.
that right now and do that job, or let me go get the chainsaw instead
But
of
you
just,
do have to stay organized.
yeah.
So, what I
So you
am
don't end up like
noticing,
Bill Weinog with a million projects
yeah,
going at the same
yeah.
time.
So what I've noticed is there's so many things I want to do, but you have to kind of say, okay, let's just focus on this one thing
Yeah,
this weekend,
like a
and
gazebo
like a gazebo, like that we thought we were going to get done in a
because it'll
weekend.
sit there for a month. Yeah,
But we got to get that done before we move on to that. But we
yeah.
have started our trails, so as soon as the gazebo is done, we'll get back to
The
clearing the
trails.
paths on the trails
Yeah,
and
and we're gonna do really nice trails too, with like
yeah,
big logs bordering them and
we've already started that.
mulch along the
Yeah,
path and
maybe you can put a little
little walkthrough.
little walkthrough.
Yeah, we'll walk through the property here today and kind of show some of that stuff too. But anyway, it's been great. It's been so nice to meet so many of you, and I know a
Yeah.
lot of you that have been on the show, watch the show, or listen to the show now.
Hmm. It's been rewarding.
It really
It
has.
really has been.
Yeah,
And it's just been very rewarding. And we have felt so much love from everybody that listens to us.
yeah,
And even when we know people are listening because they're reaching out and going, when do you put another podcast out? Why haven't you put a podcast out
yeah.
in a while?
What happened? Yeah.
So it's like, everything's okay, but not really because, I mean, it is okay, but
Well, I mean,
we're
case in
just,
point, like 2 nights ago, I was talking to Billy Floyd from Kitchen Killers, and it didn't even dawn on me until after we hung up. And Billy and I could talk forever, but after we hung up, that I wouldn't even know him if it weren't for the show. So it's
that's
just
right.
like that. So many
Yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
when
So
we
many
go back and
people.
look at how many people we've met and just kind of built friendships with, or, I mean, just to even know all these amazing people that are business owners, entrepreneurs, authors,
Artists,
singers,
yes,
artists. I
yeah,
mean, the list goes on and on. We've just met so many great people,
yeah.
and I'm forever thankful for that,
Me too, for
and
sure.
for having this project with my husband.
Me too. Cheers, since we're not
Cheers.
drinking.
Nothing drinking right now because we have to work in a while. But guys, thank you so much for each and
Yes.
every time you tuned in. And, it's a little bittersweet, but I think we did our job on being involved in the community and supporting small
Me too.
businesses. And hopefully you've discovered some businesses that you love and will stick with for the rest of your life, since if you found them from the It's All Fine and Danjee podcast.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's it.
And that's
a
it.
wrap.
Well, as Angie usually says, just remember now and always that, and this saying that we came up with at the end always was meant to be, it's kind of obvious, but always was meant to say everything's always going to be okay. And that's been one of those things that has really proven itself to us, I think, over the past couple months when
Yeah.
we were kind of in a bit of turmoil on how's this going to work, and the finances are falling through, and oh my God, there's going to be all this extra work that has to be done on the house, and all of it just kept kind of going. It's not going to happen. It is going to happen. It is going to happen, but then you're going to be in financial disaster. No, you're not, and the whole thing just kind of worked itself out. So
Works it out.
it's just another example of
That's remember. Yeah, because remember, at the end of each and every day,
it's all fine and dandy.
dandy.